Hello there, Alessandro here from Spicymoustache with some more tips to help you creating your own green space, outdoor or indoor. Unfortunately, it's lockdown again, so people keep trying to find different ways to boost their mood or stay healthy. So what's better than actually gardening in your own house, even if you don't have a garden? I made another video talking about the benefits of houseplants, how to take care of them, where to place them in your house, and different advices. But many people ask me how to make their own cuttings. I mean, how to propagate your plants. Honestly, this sounds to me like the perfect time to start this sort of project indoor. And I'm gonna explain you everything step by step in order to create your own cuttings. Water is really important as it's the main source of life in order to have healthy plants. In the water that we use, there could be chlorine, which could be really bad for your plants as it could create damages on the leaves, especially for the cuttings. However, chlorine is micronutrients, which is essential for the growth of the plant in low quantities, but it could build up on the leaves of the plant and damage the tissue. Also, it could kill beneficial fungi and bacteria present in your soil. Luckily, to get rid of chlorine, it's really easy. So you could potentially use rainwater or let your water sit outside for 12-24 hours in order to evaporate your chlorine completely. If you're doing some cuttings in water, just make sure to replace it every 3 days and prepare some more in advance so you won't have to wait for it to evaporate the chlorine. What I do, I simply use a 3 liters tank. I open the cap and I let it evaporate for 12-24 hours. Easy as that. I grow most of my cuttings in water because I just love watching the roots grow. However, you really need to be careful when you transplant from water to soil because the plants could have some damages to the root system and also the soil could dry out really quickly. A quick trick to go from water to soil is to simply start watering more your plant. So in this way, she's gonna get used to the new substrate and you can gradually reduce the amount of water that you give to your plant until she's used to the new growing media. For example, this snake plant sansevieria, commonly called mother-in-law's tongue, it's really easy to root in water. You could do this in 2 different ways. The first method is to cut one of the big leaves, divide it in sections, and make sure it's standing up in water, bottom down and top up. Make sure the bottom is down because that's the only part that's gonna take root. It could take up to a month or maybe a bit more to take root in water. However, if you be patient, it's gonna happen. Just make sure to replace your water every 3 days or once or twice per week. If you don't replace it twice a week, it's not the end of the world. You're still gonna have roots out of your snake plant. The second method is to cut a whole leaf and just place it in water. It's gonna take a bit longer, but it's gonna take roots 100%. The only thing is, if you see rot at the bottom of your leaf, just cut it off and put your leaf back into the water. Philodendron, it's also a must-have in your plant collection, and it's really easy to take cuttings and root in water or soil. You can prune this plant at literally any time. Just leave enough foliage so the plant can still go through photosynthesis. And it's also extremely easy to prune down and make cuttings. Just cut above one of the nodes until you give it a shape that you really like and separate every leaf from the cutting. You can now plant every leaf in soil until you fill the whole surface of a pot. Just try to keep the soil relatively dry and in a warm place. The other method is to simply propagate into water, so you can cut a whole branch, stick it into a glass or a jar of water, and just leave it there until it takes root. Jade Plant is another lovely variety and really easy to propagate. At the entrance of our flat, we got a really big one, roughly 15 years old, and we keep taking cuttings out of it to create new plants. This plant just needs very bright light and just water whenever the 1 or 2 inches of the top soil feels a bit dry. There are 2 methods to take cuttings of this plant. The first method is to simply take some leaves out of this plant and place it on some soil, and slowly they will start creating new leaves and they will be ready to transplant in soil. Alternatively, you can just take a small branch from your mother plant and place it in water until it takes root. I honestly think this is one of the easiest plants to clone. Monstera deliciosa, or Swiss cheese plant, is one of my favorite plants to have at home. This amazing plant thrives in bright to medium light, and I water them roughly every 2 weeks. To propagate the plant, it's super easy. You just need to cut under one of the nodes and place it directly in water or in a good potting soil. I usually propagate my cuttings in water, and it takes roughly around 1 month to start seeing some roots out of the bottom of the plant. It prefers high humidity conditions, but room temperature humidity would do. And also the temperature should always stay between 18 to 30 degrees. If it goes below 16 degrees, you're gonna see damages on the leaf of your plant. There are many houseplants available to buy, and they are extremely low maintenance, so you won't have to worry too much about your plant, and you don't necessarily have to be a great gardener to maintain an indoor garden. So these were just a few of my plants. In my opinion, the easiest to take care of, and also pretty easy to clone. If you would like to know more about houseplants, you can just leave a comment in the section below. And also, if you like this video, you can see some more in the next upcoming weeks by turning on the notification settings and subscribing to my channel. I'll see you next week on Friday as well for some more content about houseplants or a healthy life. Thank you very much for watching. See ya.